Good morning, it's time for a Cup of Joe Comments Edition.
I wanna be a cup of Joe, your first sip in the morning.
Alright, first of all, I heard you guys loud and clear. The car videos, not so much maybe. They're either a bit too annoying or a bit too dangerous, so I will be holding off on the car videos, at least for now.
Cup of Joe.
Finding a Way says, I'm the kind of rebel that sneaks candy into the movie theater. $4.50 for snow caps? I don't think so. Oh my gosh, Finding a Way. I am the same way. I always would sneak in. I would wear like a baggy hoodie, bring some snacks, maybe a can of Dr. Pepper, and I would take it to the whole next level. Like, I can't sneak in like a bucket of popcorn, can I? So what would I do? They give out free refills at the theaters that I go to, so I would just go into the trash and take out a bucket of popcorn and then just get a refill with it. Or I don't know if I ever did that with a thing of pop, but I definitely know I did it with popcorn like all the time. Like every time I'd go, when I was younger, of course. This was in my like high school, college days, but I would do it every time. Because popcorn is so good. It's like one of my favorite foods, and especially once you put that caramel topping on, like, oh man, so delicious. It's so expensive. Someone said they would take them out, rinse them out, and like rinse it out. Get all that good butter you can, that's what I say.
So delicious.
Lady of the Valley says, I'm not very keen on most of the men's laws. I try to live according to the spirit of the law rather than the letter. And you know, that is such a slippery slope for me, because that's something that I've always been a huge fan of. I've always said, come on, focus on the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. Like, you got to understand what the law is trying to do and then do that. Like, if it's trying to keep people safe, then make sure you're safe, which is kind of, I guess, that would be the defense for maybe speeding a little. Let's say you're going 1 mile over the speed limit. It's really pretty much the same thing. So it would be following the spirit of the law, which is to keep people safe, but not the letter, which is saying don't go above this exact number. But I think I'm starting to see this as kind of a slippery slope, because like, then who decides the authority? You know what I mean? Like, if you are your only authority to answer to, then that, I don't know, that just doesn't seem right. Like, I mean, oftentimes there can be things going on that you don't realize, or because I know, as like, I've been a teacher in different positions of authority, I know people will break rules because they think they're stupid or don't understand them, but they don't know all the reasons that went into the making of the rule. Also, another reason I'm starting to question this is that we are all examples to the people around us. So if we break rules, even though we know the spirit of the law and why we're breaking the rule and why we think it's okay, they might not understand all those complexities. So then they might think, oh, well, he thinks it's okay to break the rules, so I'm just going to do it. And then people start breaking rules left and right, and then what's the point of rules? And then we have anarchy, which I'm kind of a fan of. So I don't know. She also says, I wholeheartedly disagree with the phrase, if you cannot follow men's law, you can't follow God's law. Which, thanks to Rebecca Christopher, we now know that is from Romans 13:13. The Lady of the Valley says, God's law has authority over the ever-changing and nonsense-producing politicians. Good point. For example, we're not allowed to steal, but the government itself is the biggest thief of all times. Agreed. We're not allowed to kill, but there are still countries with death row or active euthanasia. True. And we are all over the world waging wars and killing people. I think a sensible person should always question anything. Well, that is a statement I can get behind. It sounds like I completely agree with you. We should be questioning these things, and we should be questioning these laws. But now I've begun to question my questioning of the laws. Rebecca Christopher says, actually she gave a quote from Charles Spurgeon, and that quote is, of two evils, choose neither. I was talking a couple weeks ago about what to do if the only two politicians that really have a viable chance at getting the presidency you think are terrible, and one might be slightly less terrible. Do you choose the lesser of two evils, or do you not? Like, what kind of is sort of a moral obligation, I guess? And there are many people who say, choose the lesser of two evils because you need to, you gotta. And then there's the people who say you shouldn't. And I think I'm beginning to agree with them. I just can't, it's not right, I don't think, at least it doesn't feel right to me to vote for someone who I don't want. Like, I'm saying I want you, but I don't. Right now, anyone that has a chance of being president of the United States is someone I cannot get behind. So I think what I'm going to do is vote for third party. I'm going to vote third party because I don't like not voting. Some people also advocate for that, saying it's a broken system, don't vote. But I think it's a much more powerful statement. Like if all of the people who are unsatisfied right now got behind a third party, like maybe the Libertarian Party or something like that, and we could all rally to that, that seems like a much more powerful statement than just like, we think the government system's broken, we're just not going to vote, or we're not going to participate in it. That's not as, I don't know, doesn't seem as helpful to me or as realistic. Like what would that accomplish? But I understand the sentiment, and I understand why some people don't vote because they are so fed up. But just for me, I think I'm going to vote third party, probably Libertarian Party. And some people tell me that that means that my vote will be wasted because that obviously is not going, that person, I don't even know who's running. I've heard his name. I can't remember though.
Hold up! Check it out!
But he's obviously not going to get it. It's not going to be something that happens. But yeah, so in that sense, I am throwing my vote away, but to me, in a much more real sense, I'm making a statement. And if all the people who were fed up, all these people who say, oh yeah, I would do that too, but it's throwing my vote away, if all those people voted this way, then maybe it wouldn't be a throwaway vote. You have to be the change you want to see in the world, as Gandhi so famously never said. Or else what's the point? What's the point of voting and all that if you're not voting with integrity and honesty and for something you can actually get behind?
Be the change that you want to see.
Safe Pet Haven says, shower only once per week? Are you joking? I never joke. Surely you mean that you're tub bathing the other days in between, right? Not so much. Daily removal of surface bacteria, environmental exposures, etc. is quite necessary / mandatory for anyone. No longer than 48 hours between cleaning one's exterior from scalp to toes. Otherwise, the bacterial buildup is an invitation for an infection and other sepses. Sepsis? Is that true? Is it? So you're telling me it's actually dangerous to not shower daily or clean yourself in some way daily? I've never heard that before. That seems strange to me because myself and other people I know often do not shower more than once a week, or might go even longer with no problems or like infection or sepses. But I suppose if that is a valid concern, that is something I should look into. So Safe Pet Haven, if there's any like links you could send me or something, studies saying that you really shouldn't go longer than 48 hours without cleaning out for your body, that'd be good because I've been doing fine going however long. I mean, right now it's been an embarrassingly long time since I've showered. Well, I mean, I'm not actually embarrassed, but I don't know, probably, has it been like 2 weeks? Longer? 3? 2? I don't even know. Don't remember my last shower, really.
No toilet, no shower!
Victoria Matter says, hi Joe, I was wondering if you could give me some advice. I identify as a Christian because I believe in God. I believe God is the creator of all things. I pray to God, I consider Jesus to be my savior, and often think about how Christ would advise me to live my life. However, even though I'm very grateful to have grown up spending half my life in a Lutheran church, I no longer feel so connected to the idea of very organized religion. All of the symbolic ceremonies, and I can't find a sect that I agree with on every single thing. Is it wise to accept a church I am not 100% compatible with? Otherwise, I will continue praying, thinking, talking to others about faith, reading and watching videos in place of going to church. That is a very interesting question, Victoria. I'm going to have a different outlook than Protestant Christians would, because as a Catholic, I think that the Roman Catholic Church, the Catholic Church is the one true faith. And I know we Catholics, we get a lot of crap for saying that, because who are we to say blah, blah, blah. But it seems like for Protestants, I guess they go to church for community, which is the point of like maybe a weekly or whatever service is the community. You build up, you get a teaching from your pastor, and you worship God with each other, and you have that strong faith community. But for me as a Catholic, the main reason, besides community, that I go to Mass every Sunday is for the Holy Eucharist, the communion with Christ in his flesh and blood, because the Eucharist, when consecrated by a priest, actually becomes Jesus' flesh and blood. Now, as Protestants don't believe that. So it's very different, because church can then become a take it or leave it kind of thing with Protestants, because it doesn't have that sacramental element. It doesn't have Christ's body and blood, which we are called to partake in. Because with Protestantism, it's like what you said, it becomes that compatibleness, I guess. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I am no expert on like any of these things. So who am I? It seems to me that through the Protestant church, it becomes compatibleness. Like you might pick and choose. You go to this church, you go to that church, you don't like this pastor or you don't like this teaching. And Protestant sects, I guess, do they all view each other as like equally just different and like they're fine with you choosing different ones? Or do they think they are? I don't know, it's weird to me. Because Catholics, it's like we believe that the teachings of the church are true and universally true. I don't know. I am probably the worst person to talk about this. My wife, Erin, she is very knowledgeable and good about these things. To get back to your question and answer it, is it wise to accept a church I'm not 100% compatible with? You know, this question brings up the idea of truth. And what is truth and how do we find truth? Because in today's day and age, everyone seems to think that truth, if it exists, it's subjective and we find our own truth and produce our own truth, which is why if truth doesn't come from a higher authority and if the truth about God and Christ and all that, if the truth of God's kingdom just comes from us and not from above, then I guess you can just choose whatever church or choose not to go to church. You know, however you find fulfillment, whatever works for you and is right for you and it speaks to your truth. But if truth is objective and not subjective, which I think Christians believe it to be, Protestants as well, right? Like Christ is truth, God is truth, God tells us what the truth is. So if that's the case, then it's about how do we find that truth. You are questioning things, and that is so good. You are seeking truth, and that is so good. Can I phone a friend on this one? I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to say something that's not true. All I know is that as far as I can tell, and I question things, I do question this, but the Catholic Church's teachings and the Catholic Church's history points directly back to God. So that's what I would say. I would say research Catholicism and find out why the Catholic Church teaches what she teaches. This was the longest rambly response ever. Hopefully that maybe helped you. I don't know.
I'm so Catholic.
The 22726 says, congratulations, that sounds awesome. You'll be an excellent teacher. I think it will help that you're not having to teach something so important to you as your faith to children who aren't interested. That's so true. That's so like, it feels weird to say I was unhappy in a job teaching something I'm passionate about, and now I'm so excited to be in a job of teaching something that I couldn't really care less about. But I think you're right. I always felt like I was failing. I was failing these kids. I was failing to show them the truth. I was failing to give them a spark of passion, of failing to bring the Spirit into their lives in a real and meaningful way. And now I can pass that on to someone who hopefully can do a better job of that. And now I can move on to something that at the end of the day, if someone doesn't care about Microsoft Office or know how to use it, well, I might be losing my job, but at least I haven't failed them and their ever-loving soul. Laura M says, are you going to need those pants your mother-in-law bought for you at this new job? I'm glad you remember those pants. Nope, they are long gone. I will not be needing them. I'm excited because since I'll be working with different people all the time, new students and all that, I don't plan to have more than one outfit that I'll be wearing to work. I figure I'll just wear the same outfit to work every day and wash it over the weekends, just like I do now. So it will be a bit dressier. I don't think I need to wear a tie, but I'll be fine. Rebecca Tenbrink says, did you come up with the 3 T's yourself? I googled it after watching your videos and couldn't find it anywhere. What she's talking about are the 3 T's of minimalism. So like the way that I will often decide if I'm going to keep something or get rid of it, or the way that I go through a room is I'll take things and say, which category of the 3 T's does this fall into? So everything falls into one of them. Is it a tool? Is it a trash? Or is it a treasure? And this I find to be the most helpful because is it useful? A lot of things might be useful, but I wouldn't consider it like a tool that I use every day. And a lot of things might be nice to have, but I wouldn't call it a treasure. So that's been really helpful for me. And the answer to that is that yes, I did come up with that myself somehow. Divine inspiration. It came to me when I was trying to think of something kind of catchy and memorable I could use in a video. And then it turned out to be something awesome that has helped me a lot when going through stuff. So yes, the 3 T's of minimalism is an original thing coming from this channel. Use it as you like, abuse it as you like. Yeah.
Cup of Joe.
That's all we've got for today, so let me know in the comments if you have any other questions you'd like me to answer. Thank you all so much for your encouragement and prayers as I go into this new job. This has been your Cup of Joe.
Rating me in comments, it's fun to do. Feeling worse about myself all because of you. But the joke's on you, so keep saying I want your kills, cause your comments make
Love you, bye. If you are your only authority, which thanks to Rebecca Christopher Rome is does this which